Questions and comments? Question et commentaire. The honourable member for Scarborough Southwest.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank my colleague for that speech, and certainly segue nicely into what I want to talk about, and that's, of course, young Canadians and students. We've already heard about the crushing unemployment that youth are facing, and now the cancellation of the small business hiring tax credit. But, Mr. Speaker, there's something else that's also happening to young people that hasn't been discussed yet. For some odd reason, the government decided to cancel the $5,000 vehicle exemption that students would get when they apply for student loans. And, Mr. Speaker, this is going to make life much more difficult and education less affordable and accessible for rural and suburban students in particular. And I just want to say, of course, statistics are showing that if you live between 40 and 80 kilometers away from a post-secondary education institute, you are 31% less likely to attend. And now, with cancelling the vehicle exemption of $5,000 that students used to be able to put against their student loans, they'll now face larger costs in attending school, in particular for a school like U of T Scarborough campus, which is in my colleague's riding.
The honourable member for Scarborough-Rouge River, you have about 50 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Such an important question that I'd love to take 10 minutes to answer. And I thank my colleague for this question and the statistics that he pointed out. What this government is doing is making it harder for already underprivileged students who have to rely on the student loan program to be able to get themselves through school, like I did myself, Mr. Speaker. If I didn't have access to the OSAP loans and the vehicle exemption tax credit, I wouldn't have been able to afford going to school. I wouldn't have been able to afford having a university degree, and that's what this government is trying to do. They're trying to make it so that children or youth who grow up in communities or who grow up in families that are not privileged don't go to school. They're trying to make it more difficult for students who grow up in poverty or in situations where education is the key for them to leave that cycle of poverty, that cycle of discrimination, whatever it might be, that this government is making it more difficult for people like me to be able to have an education and serve my community and my country and to get out of the vicious cycle of poverty. And that is not fair. We need to be making sure that we're looking out for all students and all young people in our country, not just the privileged. We need to make sure that it doesn't make sense that they canceled the $5,000 vehicle exemption credit, because rural and suburban communities need to make sure their young people are getting educated as well. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.